Hello, everyone. This is Andre back with Wings Mobile Detailing. Today, podcast is on auto detailing topic. I'm talking about what would be the bare minimum of products and equipments that you as a detailer, or maybe you're just starting out to detail cars, or you're doing it on your own and you don't want anything too complex. You don't want products that actually detailers use with a rotary buffer. You just want something simple so that you can use, perhaps buy it in the store or buy it from Amazon, something that you can use that it's easy to use and there's no risk in damaging or anything, including products like polisher products, compound, if we have to use compound or not. So stay with the introduction and we'll cover right back.
Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezzalera.
The main reason I really love talking about this topic, about simplicity, is because everything that we do here at Wings Mobile Detailing, we try to look for something that's simple, not too complex, not too complicated, because we can get really perfect results and professional results, meaning when we're polishing car, we're not eating too much of the clear coat, and that's important not to do that. So simplicity sometimes, most times I like to follow that concept. However, I'm gonna go even more simple here in this podcast because we're detailers, we're professionals, and we cannot go too simple. We have to get more products in. We have to use different products for different services, different pads depending on the type of service if we're going to do a heavy paint correction. But this podcast, I'm going to cover if you're actually just starting out. You just want something that it's not too complicated to do, that you can do without requiring years of training and experience before you touch the vehicle. So if you're on a budget, let's start off with even using a vacuum cleaner, for example. If you don't want to spend money on buying those big shop vacuums and you're very limited on your budget, you want to spend about $30 on a vacuum cleaner, obviously it's not going to do as well of a job. But you can find those on even Walmart or Amazon. They're those small handheld vacuums. They have the actual tube, so they're separate. They're not completely handheld. You can leave it on the floor and have the tube coming out and still vacuum like a regular vacuum. But they are very tiny, and you're gonna spend about $35 on those. And it's a good choice if you're really on a budget and you just want to spend short of $30 on a vacuum cleaner. Now, staying inside the interior, you normally are gonna want to detail the interior of cars, the dashboard, all the cup holders. That's the minimum that you have to do. You may not have to start off doing shampoo, depending, the car that you're detailing. If you're detailing your own car and you don't want to spend money, or somebody, I don't know your situation, but sometimes you may not need to go shampoo, so invest on machines to shampoo, water extractors, steamers, and things like that. But you certainly are gonna want to do hard surfaces at least. And for products on hard surfaces, you can find any product on Amazon that you don't have to buy by the gallon. And you can buy even those interior cleaners from Meguiar's, those sprayers, or from Chemical Guys. And with a microfiber rag, I still recommend investing on some microfiber rags. So those products you can find. And as far as the towels go, the rags, the microfiber rags, you can buy those in a bag that comes like 12 towels on a bag, and you can buy different colors if you like, or just staying with one color, so you just buy one bag. And they have different prices for microfibers as well. You have the sizes. You have usually 12 by 12 inches, and you have bigger ones, 16 by 16s. They do differ in pricing, but those bags you can find probably around $12 for a bag of those microfiber rags that you can use. Obviously, they're not the greatest rags. There are better ones out there that you spend almost twice as much, and they're going to last longer. But if you're on a budget, that's a great choice as well, as far as the interior goes. The other part is now going towards the shampoo. If you decide that, okay, I actually kind of want to remove the stain from my car, but I don't also want to invest on my steamer or a water extractor, what you can do is just get a degreaser stain remover for the seats that you'd use with the steamer, but instead you would not be steaming. Obviously the service is not going to come out professional, but you're still going to be able to remove stains if you spray the stain remover on the seats and floors. You can spray quickly on the entire thing so that you clean it, so we actually degrease the entire fabric of the car. And you can spray those, use the microfiber rag that you brought, and wipe it off clean. And it would work if you have some stains here and there, if you want to overall give that fresh look on the car. Now, if the car has, it's really dirty and you want to shampoo to make it super clean, sanitized, remove a lot of stains. If the cars, there's a lot of stains on seats, and then obviously you're probably going to have to invest on more materials, more equipments, instead of just a product, brush, and microfiber towel. If you do want to invest on equipment, you can buy a steamer from Amazon. They do sell a steamer, so whatever tiny steamers that you can find there, that can cost around $60. I'm not sure if they have even cheaper than that, but that might do the job, might help a little bit. It's not one of those $200 steamer that comes out more powerful, or a $500 steamer. But if you go that route and shampooing professionally, and just doing a scrub and shampoo is not working out, you might want to go towards steaming. If you still don't want to do steam and do water extractor, and you don't want to invest in water extractor because they are quite more costly, then you can actually invest on buying yourself a shop vacuum, where for you to actually use as a vacuum, you're going to spend more money than the actual tiny vacuum that you bought, and buy a wet filter. You want to make sure you buy a wet vacuum, because then you can just change the filter from the vacuum and use it to suck up water that you soaked the seats in. Then bam, you have a water extractor, and those vacuum cleaners are actually strong if you change the filter, so they will work out. It's not like a water extractor where it throws hot water in there, but it still does the job if you decided to invest on that. And leather's pretty similar. Leather is much more simple. To shampoo leather, obviously you're just gonna want to have a lighter degreaser, light stain remover, or a leather cleaner, and just buy a soft brush. You may not need steaming, even to do a really good job. You don't need steamers, you don't need water extractor. Obviously don't need water extractor for leather. And you can use the shampoo with a soft brush, scrub it, and remove it with the towel. And then buy a conditioner. You can buy leather conditioning from Amazon and apply it on there, and it's still gonna look good. So as far as product goes, you have a sprayer of interior cleaner, you have a stain remover for the fabric, and a leather cleaner as well. If your fabric cleaner does not also work on leather, it might work. Now, going towards the outside, now you're washing the car and you want to use the hand wash the car, you can just go and buying a regular bucket, whatever bucket you find. Normally I recommend buckets with grit guard. If you're really on a budget and you don't want to invest in a grit guard bucket, and you want to get those smaller buckets, because they are also costly, believe it or not. The buckets with grit guard, they can go around $50, $55. Then you don't necessarily need to use the grit guard. Obviously, it's gonna help. Obviously, if you're a professional detailers out there and you're cringing because I'm saying this, this podcast is not for you because you're all set already. I'm talking to the people who's on budget. They just want to start out on their car. Now, if you're starting out on a customer's car this way, I don't normally recommend. You definitely want to. I'm saying mostly if you want to do it for your own car, so you can buy a bucket, soap, car wash soap, those concentrate ones. There's no secret on those, as long as you don't use dish detergent, and then you're good. And the automotive soap, a wash mitt, you wash the car. You can buy chamois to dry the car, or a bunch of microfiber towels. But this way, I actually just prefer you to just go buy a chamois, because you can do it multiple times, use the same one, and you're not running through a lot of microfiber towels to dry the entire car. Then you're drying the car with equipment. You have a bucket, wash mitt, hose. Using the hose, if you don't want to invest in a pressure washer, you can use a regular water hose. I also recommend those expendable ones. With those expendable ones, you might want to invest a little bit more money. You might want to spend around $50 to get those okay, because if you spend $20 to get those expendable hose, they're gonna rip soon. They're not gonna last as long. So you might as well buy a bigger one of those expendable hose and use that with a nozzle. You can buy a good nozzle also off of Home Depot, those, or Amazon, those long nozzles with a good tip, and use it on cars and connect the hose and go to town. Unless you want to gravitate towards using a pressure washer now instead, it's much better. It's much simple. You can buy a pressure washer off of Home Depot and spend about on a very small pressure washer, but it still gives a lot of pressure. We actually use those a lot. They're about $180, and out of Home Depot you can buy those small ones, electric ones, and you just plug it in, connect the hose there, you're good to go. Pressure washer, much better than just using regular hose. Now, normally after you dry the car, you're gonna need more towels, more microfiber towels. You're gonna need I still recommend, depending on the budget that you are, to get different colors. So blue for windows. I forgot that you need a window cleaner for interior, but blue for windows, green for more dirtier ones. So if you wanted to do the rims and the door jambs, to dry the door jambs, you need different microfiber towels. So you can use a different color for that. Green, black towel to do interior hard surfaces, and orange one for the paint itself. You're not touching anything but the paint of the car to apply or remove wax, or apply a spray wax if you want to buy a spray wax. If you also want to wash the car and apply wax, you can do that. You don't have to spend much money on buying wax. You can find good carnauba wax off of Amazon. The Colonite wax is really good because you can use it in the sun if you're outside. It's called Colonite. They are a bit more expensive. Not expensive if you're on a budget, because it's relative to what is expensive and not. But Colonite wax is good, or the Meguiar's finishing wax. I think that's what it's called. That one's good too. It comes out easy. As far as the best experience that I had in the sun. Now, going towards the exterior of the car more, going a little bit deeper now. If you apply the wax, or you can use a sealant instead of the wax. To apply the wax, you don't need a buffer. You can hand apply, get a pad, put the wax on the pad, and rub it in the car, remove with the towel. Now, going towards paint polishing now. If you want to go in the step of polishing the car, removing minor paint imperfections, not just clay bar, because clay bar removes the contaminants from the car. But if you want to go towards polishing the car, you don't want to you're not offering all the crazy, even though you're using the buffer, the dual action buffer. That's what I recommend if you're on a budget in the beginning, is to use a dual action buffer from Griot's Garage. They're really good. I personally like them. Some people don't. Instead of a rotary buffer, you kind of want to stay away from those at this point in time. But a dual action, you can get a dual action buffer, get a polisher, and you have to know what you're doing so you're not messing up. But if you get one of those, you have 2-in-1 polishers that you can buy from 3D and put it on a pad. So you can buy the dual action buffer, you can buy a polishing pad, either from Chemical Guys. If you buy a orange pad for a one step, then that works perfectly to remove scratches and also protect the car. So you restore the shine on the car, and you only have one pad, one dual action buffer, that one product, and it's gonna do a great job. And you don't have to be spending money on buying multiple pads. If you want to do, let's say, compound, polish and polish again, and you need a lot more technique to go that route. Sometimes you cannot do it outside. You have to be in a controlled temperature room indoors. For those, then it's a different story. So let's say, okay, I don't want to just stick with the 2-in-1 one step of polish. I actually want to now start to go crazier into the paint correction route. Meguiar's, they have a really good pad combination. Although I don't recommend using the products that they combine with the pad. So On Amazon, they used to sell, I'm not sure if they sell it, but you can buy it separate now, that you can buy to do a compound on your dual action buffer that you have. You can buy the compound pad, which is the microfiber cutting pad from Meguiar's with a little bit of a red foam, and it's a white microfiber cutting pad. That's where you're gonna do to do the compounding on your dual action buffer. You want to take time because you're using dual action. It takes more time. You want to have the machine do the work. And on a dual action buffer, the product that you can use is a easier one. You can use, if you like, the professional grade cutting compound from Meguiar's. They come in either a black if you want to buy in smaller on a black bottle, or the 10 colored bottle, and you can put it on the microfiber pad and use that. But then you're gonna have to follow up with 2 more steps to level out the paint. And Meguiar's, or you can use a different pad, a foam pad, and I do have a different podcast for paint correction, which pads to use. So if you scroll down the list and you want to get more in-depth details on what to use as a paint correction, please scroll down and you can have a lot of tips of pad combinations with products. But if you're going on the paint correction route, you can start using with the microfiber cutting pad. That's a little bit deeper, and I do recommend you listening to that podcast. But if you don't reach this level yet of complexity, you can stick with the 2-in-1 product, still have a dual action buffer. You don't need a buffer if you want to just apply wax on the car after you detail, or sealant. You can just apply by hand, and normally it's going to be faster because if you apply by hand, you don't have to get the buffer out, connect the cable, and you're not spending money on a buffer if you decide not to do polish on cars. If you do polish cars, then you just gotta use a dual action buffer. It's hard to polish a car by hand because you do need speed, power, and torque to actually do some nice polishing on the car and actually remove minor swirl marks, minor scratches, and minor painting imperfection. So that's what you can use as far as the product goes. As far as the polisher goes, if you want to go in the polishing route, you can use the 3D HD Speed. That's a great 2-in-1 product. Or you can use, if you're using the dual action buffer, or you can use a finishing polish from Meguiar's and put it on a pad. Put it on a orange pad from usually Country Lake or Chemical Guys orange pad. If you use that to polish, that works great. But if you do polish the vehicles without using the 2-in-1 product, just using this finishing polish from Meguiar's, then you're gonna have to follow up with applying either wax or sealant to protect the paint. Because the 2-in-1 might already does have sealant or wax in the product, so you don't necessarily, it's protecting the paint at the same time. But if you want to do it separate, you can polish it first with the finishing polish and hand apply the paste sealant there. Now there's also a lot of small tools and accessories that you can have to get closer to being a professional detailer. One of them would be a pet hair brush, where if you're vacuuming the vehicle, especially if you're vacuum using that small tiny vacuum, you're not going to get as much. So you definitely want a kind of a brush to help loosen up the dirt, and also a pet hair brush if there's pet hair on the cars, because then there's a whole different, if a car has pet hair and you want to remove it, you need that brush, and it's going to make a huge difference. It's a rubber brush. You can find it on Amazon. Type it there, you're going to find it. Now to wash the microfiber pads, or the wax pads, not the hand wax pad, but the one that goes in the buffer, the actual polishing pads. Now you don't have also to buy the bucket to wash those pads. I don't personally even use those. Washing in the hose works great. If you already have a degreaser in hands and you want to wash the pads to use it again, there's just so many times you can use it. Normally it doesn't last those 3 cars to one polishing pad, but you have to wash it when you finish a car, or when you finish 2 cars, depending on what you're doing with it. You can just spray degreaser on the pad and use the hose and hose it out and squeeze it with your hands. You're gonna see all the product coming out. Let it dry, air dry it, and bam, you have a clean looking pad. Same with the towels. You don't need any fancy type of soap. Spend money on fancy soap if you're starting out to wash those microfiber towels, especially because they are not very costly, so you're not worried much about it. You can throw it in the washing machine if you don't mind, using your washing machine. I mean, what else are you gonna do? And throw it in the washing machine. You can use any type of laundry detergent as long as it doesn't have fabric softener on it. So try to avoid having fabric softeners because it does deteriorate the fibers from the microfibers. And one more tip that you can do is the polishing pads that you have. If you want to throw it in the wash as well and wash it along with the towels, that also works. Now guys, those are tips and tricks for staying very small inside the budget. Obviously, this is not for professional detailers. If you're a professional detailer and you cringed a little bit of what I'm saying, just think that we all start somewhere. And I'm sure a lot of you thinking back when you guys weren't very aware of detailing your own car, you did things like that, or even worse, and that's how we learn. But this is not bad. You can still detail cars. I'm not giving bad advice. All of this, you're still using vacuum. Obviously, it's better to start off, especially you're starting a business. It's obviously better to start off with all the equipment. You're gonna be profitable much faster. Same with the business systems that is out there. That people sometimes takes 5-10 years to learn to become more profitable, to grow better, and some people never learn it, and others do. So there is always an advantage into starting off ready with equipments, bigger equipments, and with more things. But if that's not your case, if your case is on the budget, these are simple tricks. And if you have any questions for me, please feel free to send me a message on Wings Mobile Detailing, Instagram, Facebook, or you can just give me a call as well. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions if you tell me that you listen to the podcast. Thank you very much, guys. Leave a review there if you enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and stay safe.